Teresa de San Roman, an old lady who has travelled a great deal in Europe, and is very distinguished for talents and information. She has the Grand Cross of María Luisa of Spain, is of a noble Venetian family, and aunt to the Duke of Canizaro. Her dress was a very rich black Genoa velvet, black blonde mantilla, and a very splendid parure of diamonds. She seems in exceedingly delicate health. She and her contemporaries are fast fading away, the last record of the days of viceroyalty. In their place a new race have started up, whose manners and appearance have little of the vieille cour about them, chiefly, it is said, wives of military men sprung from the hotbeds of the revolutions, ignorant and full of pretensions, as parvenus who have risen by chance and not by merit must be. I continue my list after the fashion of the court journal. Countess de S o, under dress of rich violet satin, gown of black blonde, mantilla of black blonde, diamond earrings, 5 or 6 large diamond brooches fastening the mantilla, necklace of large pearls and diamond sivegni. The Señora S., dress of white satin, gown of white blonde mantilla, pearls, diamonds, and white satin shoes. Madame S R., black velvet dress, white blonde mantilla, pearls, diamonds, short sleeves, and white satin shoes. The Señora de A d., fawn coloured satin dress, black blonde mantilla, diamonds, and black satin shoes. The Señora B a, the wife of a general, extremely rich, and who has the handsomest house in Mexico. Dress of purple velvet, embroidered all over with flowers of white silk, short sleeves and embroidered corsage, white satin shoes, and has bas à jour, a deep flounce of Mechlin appearing below the velvet dress, which was short. A mantilla of black blonde, fastened by 3 diamond aigrettes. Diamond earrings of extraordinary size. A diamond necklace of immense value, and beautifully set. A necklace of pearls, valued at $20,000. A diamond Sévigné. A gold chain going 3 times around the neck and touching the knees. On every finger 2 diamond rings like little watches. As no other dress was equally magnificent with her, I conclude my description, only observing that no Mexican lady has yet paid me her first morning visit without diamonds. They have few opportunities for displaying their jewels, so that were it not on the occasion of some such morning visit of etiquette, the diamonds would lie in their cases, wasting their serene rays in darkness. Last night an attempt was made to break into the house, but our fine little bulldog Hercules, a present from Señor A d, kept his ground so well, and barked so furiously that the servants were awakened, even the porter, the soundest slumberer amongst them, and the robbers escaped without doing further mischief than inflicting a severe wound on the poor animal's paw, which has made him for the present quite lame. Apropos to which matters, a most cruel murder, of which I have just been hearing the particulars, was committed not very long ago in this neighbourhood, upon Mr. M., the Swiss consul. He was also a leather merchant, and one morning having sent out his porter on some commission, a carriage drove up to the door, and 3 gentlemen presented themselves to Mr. M., requesting to speak to him on business. He begged them to walk in, and there entered a general in uniform, a young officer, and a monk. Mr. M. requested to be informed of their business, when suddenly the general, seizing hold of him whilst the others went to secure the door, exclaimed, "We have not come to hear about your goods, we want your money." The poor man, astounded at perceiving the nature of his customers, assured them he kept but little money in the house, but proceeded instantly to open his private drawers, and empty their contents, amounting, in fact, to a trifle of some few $100. Finding that he had indeed no more to give them, they prepared to depart, when the monk said, "We must kill him, or he will recognize us." "No," said the officers, "leave him and come along, there is no danger." "Go on," said the monk, "I follow," and turning back, stabbed the consul to the heart. The 3 then re-entered the carriage and drove off at full speed. A few minutes afterwards the porter returning, found his master bathed in blood, and rushing out to a neighbouring gambling house gave the alarm. Several gentlemen ran to his assistance, but he died in an hour after, having given all the particulars of the dress and appearance of his murderers, and that of their carriage. By these tokens they were soon afterwards discovered, and by the energy of the governor, then Count C a, they were arrested and hanged upon the trees in front of our house, together with the real Mexican colonel, who had kindly lent the ruffians his carriage for the occasion. It is seldom that crime here meets with so prompt a punishment. Our friend Count C a, when governor of Mexico, was celebrated for his energy in el persiguimiento de los ladrones, persecuting the robbers, as it is called. It is said upon one occasion his zeal carried him rather far. Various robberies having been committed in the city, he had received a hint from the government that the escape of the perpetrators was considered by them as a proof that he had grown lukewarm in the public service. A few days afterwards, riding in the streets, he perceived a notorious robber, who, the moment he observed himself recognized, darted down another street with the swiftness of an arrow. The governor pursued him on horseback; the robber made all speed towards the square, and rushed into the sanctuary of the cathedral. The count galloped in after him, and dragged him from his place of refuge near the altar. This violation of the church's sanctity was of course severely reprimanded, but, as the governor remarked, they could no longer accuse him of want of zeal in the discharge of his duty. He took as his porter the captain of a gang of robbers, ordering him to stand at the door, and to seize any of his former acquaintances who might pass his own pardon depending on his conduct in this respect. Riding out one day to his country place with his lady, this man accompanying them as a servant, they were overtaken by a messenger who desired the return of the count to the city upon some urgent and important business. It was already dusk, yet the count, trusting to the honour of the robber, ordered him to conduct his lady to the hacienda, and she alone on horseback with this alarming guide performed her journey in safety. Before I conclude this letter, I must tell you that I received a visit this morning from a very remarkable character, well known here by the name of La Guera, the fair Rodriguez, said to have been many years ago celebrated by Humboldt as the most beautiful woman he had seen in the whole course of his travels. Considering the lapse of time which has passed since that distinguished traveller visited these parts, I was almost astonished when her card was sent up with a request for admission, and still more so to find that in spite of years and of the furrows which it pleases time to plough in the loveliest faces, La Guera retains a profusion of fair curls, without one gray hair, a set of beautiful white teeth, very fine eyes, and great vivacity. Her sister, the Marquesa de Juluapa, lately dead, is said to have been also a woman of great talent and extraordinary conversational powers. She is another of the ancient noblesse who has dropped off. The physician who attended her in her last illness, a Frenchman of the name of Plan, in great repute here, has sent in a bill to her executors of $10,000, which, although it does not excite any great astonishment, the family refuse to pay, and there is a lawsuit in consequence. The extortions of medical men in Mexico, especially of foreign physicians, have arrived at such a height that a person of moderate fortune must hesitate before putting himself into their hands. 1. A rich old lady in delicate health, and with no particular complaint, is a surer fund for them than a silver mine. [Footnote 1. The Mexican government has since taken this matter into consideration, and is making regulations which render it necessary for a medical man to possess a certain degree of knowledge, and to have resided a specified time in the city, before he is permitted to practise. They are also occupied in fixing a certain sum for medical attendance. I found La Guera very agreeable, and a perfect living chronicle. She is married to her third husband, and had 3 daughters, all celebrated beauties. The Countess de Regla, who died in New York, and was buried in the cathedral there; the Marquesa de Guadalupe, also dead; and the Marquesa de A., now a handsome widow. We spoke of Humboldt, and talking of herself as of a third person, she related to me all the particulars of his first visit, and his admiration of her; that she was then very young, though married, and the mother of 2 children, and that when he came to visit her mother, she was sitting sewing in a corner, where the Baron did not perceive her, until talking very earnestly on the subject of cochineal, he inquired if he could visit a certain district where there was a plantation of nopals. "To be sure," said La Guera from her corner, "we can take M.D. Humboldt there;" whereupon he, first perceiving her, stood amazed, and at length exclaimed, "Valgame Dios! Who is that girl?" Afterwards he was constantly with her, and more captivated, it is said, by her wit than by her beauty, considering her a sort of Western